Welcome, my beautiful souls, and happy July. Today we're going to do a reading for all signs. One of the reasons why I'm going to do this is I just loved your readings for July. I have to say, I felt like for so many of you, there's going to be major changes. It's like dark shadows are going to be lifted. I'm sure some of it is planetary, but I don't know. I just have to say, I feel like July readings were one of the best readings, probably, definitely this year, um, but definitely even going into last year. So let's do all readings and let's see if that joy just keeps coming. Excuse me. So I will timestamp these, by the way, for everyone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Aries, and we're going to do 3 cards each, with each one getting a major arcana. And then I have 2 clarifying decks out. I have the Gilded Tarot and the Crystal Vision. So we will, again, um, I'm going to intuitively, let me put it that way. I'm not just pulling cards. I'm just going to intuitively stop shuffling when I feel that we have reached. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. And we're going to go ahead and take 3. And we're going to start again with Aries. I'm going to bring this lid down. Okay. We have the Queen of Cups. Can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Queen is holding a cup in her hand. We have, interesting, the Moon. So, card of Pisces, ruler of Cancer, and we are in Cancer's energy. So, a lot of water energy for Aries. And then, interesting, we have the Hermit. So, the Hermit, we're in the year of the Hermit. This is about the final reflection of this 9-year cycle. The Hermit's looking back, though. So, Aries, it feels like you're in, like you're heading for this emotional time. What I love is the Queen is already holding the cup. So I feel like if this has anything to do, I don't know how I can't be talking about love. That's just what it feels like. Um, but I feel the Hermit is about you, and are you ready? I feel like someone over here, this Queen, I feel like she's ready. It's interesting. I feel like this is someone else, and I feel like you're the Hermit here, the wise old soul. So, some of you may be reflecting upon this right now. You know, am I ready to add love in? The Hermit looking back at the moon. Well, the moon can talk about uncertainties for sure, but it's really about the dreamy energy. And that's what I feel with 2 water back to back. It's more about the dreamy energy. She's holding that cup. It's like she's ready. Are you ready? Cheer he, by the way. Let's go ahead and, okay, well, that seems like it wants to be yours. Look at that, another chariot energy. So the chariot for your major arcana, that represents unlimited potential. Um, it is the balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. We want to remember when we receive the chariot, it's our intentions that tell the chariot where to go. So if we believe in unlimited potential, then chances are that's what we're going to find. But if we put restrictions, in it, where I feel like none need, like I don't feel like there needs to be restrictions, then restrictions is what we find. So, the chariot, it feels like it's go time to me. And I kind of love that it's in Cancer's energy. We're in the year of the Hermit. Yet I don't feel like, I feel like once the year of the Hermit means this is a year of reflection. We're closing out that 9-year cycle. Literally, this is the last year of a 9-year cycle. And then a brand new cycle opens up. So using the Hermit's energy, which really speaks about your spirituality, what you have learned, especially when you've gone through the dark night of the soul, but then you come out the other end wiser than you've ever been. Um, so I feel what this is saying is that you're interested. This person's definitely interested. The Chariot feels like energetic energy saying it's safe. But let's do the crystal vision. We'll go back and forth. We'll give them just a quick shuffle. And we're just going to take a couple. I don't want these to be real long, otherwise I won't be able to get all the signs in one reading. Well, hello, Sun. Look at that. So this is Leo's ruler, by the way. Interesting, you have Cancer's ruler and Leo's ruler, but also Cancer moving into Leo. The Sun's the illuminator, though. I feel like it's meant to give you a sense of safety or a sense of feeling safe. Maybe I should put it that way. Because anything done in the dark when the sun is out will come to the light. So, in other words, I feel like there is nothing to fear here. Um, it's when you're ready, for sure. But someone else seems ready. All right. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Look at that. The Knight of Cups. Okay. The Three of Cups. And then the King of Pentacles. Do you know what I feel like this is saying? First of all, I feel like for the majority of you, you know who I'm talking about. Because I feel like Aries, you've been concentrating on your money, your career, strengthening your financial foundation. But maybe love is something you felt you were lacking a little bit of. It's great to make a lot of money and all that, right? And to have abundance, but it's even nicer to share it with someone. So the Knight of Cups coming over the Hermit, where I feel that is you. And I feel like one of the questions you were asking yourself as you move forward, or let me put it a different way, like I feel like you wanted to make sure, let's just say that your days of dating and needing variety are over. Doesn't mean you can't have variety with this person, because I have a feeling this will be very playful. But I also feel like a sense of, you know, I know I need to be loyal. I need to be steady. Am I ready? So I feel like you've again been concentrating on your money, and you seem to be doing pretty well there. The Nine of Pentacles definitely represents success and even seeing the fruits of your labor. But now I feel like now it's time to bring love into the picture, and that feels like the perfect balance. So I feel like it's interesting. It can go either way, but it feels more to me like it's more of you, more Aries approaching others, declaring the way they feel, or it's the other way around, someone else. But I feel like I feel like you know who this is, though. So, whichever direction it's going, I feel like one was thinking about their money, building up that foundation. But again, the one area where maybe I didn't feel I had completion was in romance, love. Let's say love, because romance you can find anywhere. You know what I mean? But this is, I feel like, about now making a commitment. So, whichever way it's going, it's interesting because I feel like I even named your reading. I could be wrong, but that someone was gonna make a declaration of love. I think that was your reading, and that's exactly what it feels like. So I'm happy to see that they are aligning. Okay, put that there. Let's pick these up. And let's keep going. Just going to let's turn them around. So I'm going to stay with this deck. And we're going to move into Taurus. And I think we'll switch clarifiers. All right, Taurus. Ten of Swords. Ace of Swords. Holy Swords. And the Three of Swords. Interesting. Boy, someone is going to have a discussion over daggers that have been put in my back, heartache. You know, it's interesting. If you look at this person in the Three of Swords, she looks angry. I feel like there's going to be a discussion here. And it's coming from truth. I don't think it's going to be an easy one. I have a feeling someone may be ending something. Because the Ace of Swords ultimately is truth, but it is communication. Following the Ten of Swords, I feel like someone is just going to say, I'm not taking it anymore. Let's bring in your major arcana. Look at that, the Empress. Why aren't you taking it anymore? Because now I know I don't need to. As the Empress, right? The Empress definitely has gone through all this energy. But this is someone who, I feel like the conversation may go some way, somewhat like this. You know, I've given you years, and all you've done is hurt me over and over and over again. And I took it, but I'm not taking it anymore. In the last few years, I've been working on myself. I've been learning who I am and what I want in my life. And it's completely different than what you are supplying me. The type of life that we have together, it's not what I want. Some of you may become single parents. But listen, I feel with the Empress here, you're stronger. Wow, that was loud. That was loud. You're stronger than you've ever been. The Empress is loving and nurturing, compassion, empathetic, but very powerful. Like no one really pushes the Empress around, but she's not mean. She just knows. And that's what I feel. I'm not surprised to see the Empress because that's exactly what I feel. I know who I am. I know what I want. I have been evolving, learning, and growing where you had been doing nothing but putting dagger and dagger in my back. And enough is enough. Amen. All right. Let's bring out the, straight to the point. Let's bring out the Gilded Tarot. I definitely feel like someone has given someone plenty of chances and opportunities for growth within themselves. I get this feeling the more you grew, like on a spiritual level, the less they did. Almost like they were intimidated by, or that maybe they are intimidated by who you have become, who you are today. Ace of Cups. Love. So you love this person. Well, of course you did. Because otherwise, why would you have given him so much time? But I have a feeling this Ace of Cups doesn't belong with these swords. I just have a feeling. Not that I even think the Empress is thinking like, I'm going to go out there and find love. Because she's just, the Empress is like happy in the present moment. And I feel like when she ends this, because I don't know how it can continue unless someone really does an about face. I'm not going to say it's impossible. But, all right, we have the Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and then look at this, the Lovers. Wow. Look at the two aces, Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands. But the Ace of Wands, actually, you have three aces. Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Swords is your voice. It's your truth. I know it. I feel it. And I feel like you're expressing it. Ace of Cups is love. I do feel like you love this person. I'm not sure there may be a little love. Or that, like you may say, well, I'll always love you. But we just don't match anymore. Now, again, I don't think the Empress is out. I feel like the Empress is going to become single. Like this is going to be a single mom, single dad, or you don't have to have kids, you just may be single. And although you had love for this person, look at the Lovers now with the Ace of Wands next to it, passion ignited. That means it's new. And it's with the Lovers. So, Lovers, card of Gemini, and talk about a head over heart decision. And the Empress may do exactly that. Take a moment, think about it. But, boy, do I get a feeling that divine timing is stepping in. Like, I feel like maybe this time has come to end this so that this can now begin in its time. When the Empress is ready. But what I love is we get the Page of Wands with her, who I call my risk taker. And remember, the Empress, the one thing we really want to remember about the Empress, first of all, she's lived the life of all the queens, or if you're masculine, lived the life of all the kings, and has extracted the wisdom. So she's very wise, very intuitive. She doesn't build walls around her. Her intuition is what guides her. So for her taking a chance, she would feel pretty sure about this. But look where it's taken her. It's like from hell to heaven. And I love that the Ace of Wands is before the Lover, so it's almost, not almost, it's like your heart chakra is going to be activated. And then, somehow, some way, the Lovers will then, well, you are one of the Lovers. The other Lover will then enter. So, okay. That felt so clear. I'm going to let it be. Holy swords, Taurus. All right. We'll do a couple more with this deck. And then we'll see. Then we'll change. I'm just going to play it by ear. All right. Gemini. My fellow Geminis. I have a Gemini moon. We have, interesting, Page of Pentacles in reverse. I'll tell you why it's interesting. Many of you know that I'm very careful. What is going on here? Do I have my deck in reverse? I don't. Ace of Cups in reverse. And then look at this, the Seven of Swords in the upright. Wow, no wonder the Ace of Cups is in reverse. Someone hasn't learned their lessons. It's not you. Someone else. Someone feels like they're unwilling to grow. It feels like someone could have certainly stunted your growth. I don't love that the Seven of Swords is here because that is untrustworthy energy. Many tarot cards call it deception and envy. And it's mirroring the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Well, the Page of Pentacles is about a path of knowledge. It's what I'm learning and growing, right? It can be money, but also just learning, everything in life. So I feel like someone shut down their love, but I feel like you had every reason to shut it down. By the way, I feel like whoever you were dealing with, I get the sense, like, it's interesting, it reminds me a little bit of the last reading, because I get the sense of someone being more than comfortable living in their lower vibrational energy. Like, they don't want to learn. They think they're fine. Now, do they really think that? I don't know. Because I feel like, who's ever in the Seven of Swords, they have the same opportunities that we have to grow and evolve, to evaluate oneself. But I almost feel like they want to take the easy road. That road's not that easy. That's just an illusion they tell themselves. Look at this. Goodbye, Seven of Swords. Goodbye, yellow brick road. Is that how it goes? Goodbye, yellow brick road. The full, new beginning. Putting the past in the past. The evolution of Gemini and the realization of what I no longer want in my life. What I love about the Fool showing up, even though it's on the Ace of Cups in reverse, I don't feel like that means, I just feel like this love, I feel like is over. And I feel like you must be ready. if you haven't already ended it. Because let's face it, this feels like the type of person that you just can't trust. Again, they have no interest in learning and evolving, though they have the same opportunity. You know, I often feel like this person is someone who would, like, if you said to them, you know, you got to mature sometime, they'd be like, why? I like my life the way it is. But that's because they tend to take from other people instead of give. They take. They are takers. So I feel like my Geminis have had enough. And the Fool is a beautiful representation of putting that past in the past. Why would I want to let this energy affect future love in my life? All right, let's bring out the crystal vision. We're just going to go back and forth. I'll put the July playlist as one of the end screens at the end of the video. We have the wheel. Interesting though, I'm not sure. The wheel was like a little upside down, a little not upside down. But, when you see the wheel and it's coming over difficult energy, then it means there was probably something that your soul wanted to learn from this. And literally, sometimes it's as simple as now I know what I don't want in love. Now I know how to read energy. This could have been, when you were young, and it could have been more of like, in fact, what's the word I'm looking for? Infatuation. Is that, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway. I spent many of my years back in the day attracting lower vibrational energy. We have the Chariot. Interesting. So, feels like the person in the Seven of Swords is not balanced. And then we have the Three of Swords. Almost like the same conversation we had with Taurus. So, it looks like you're dealing with someone who just is unbalanced, whether medically, mentally, or just living their life in an unbalanced state. Again, I don't feel that they feel there's anything wrong. But look what it's producing, the Three of Swords. So who's paying the price? You. You were. But if you're willing, which I feel like you are, to move into the Fool's energy, which means I am saying goodbye, right? Knowing that the wheel, if the wheel comes out and there was something I was meant to learn here, then, and this was difficult, no doubt, chances are whatever the wheel is bringing in is going to feel more like a reward. So let's take one more. The Fool's looking right at the wheel. Like, I am ready. I am ready to take a walk on this destined path, wherever it may lead. Well, hello, soulmates. Wow. Now, what a difference. And then the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles. Some of you could work with someone that, who knows, may have a crush on you. These words may be unspoken. How do I love that the soulmate sits on your wheel? Of course it does. But that it's showing that. So the Fool, brand new energy, right? Free and clear. I've extracted the wisdom, but I'm not going to carry yesterday's energy into the potential of my tomorrow, especially with what energy it's bringing in. So when I said that the wheel, or that the Fool looking at that wheel felt that something good was coming in, look what it brought out. Soulmates. Completely different type of love. Oh, I think I said that it's usually a good reward after this could have been a karmic soulmate. And the Eight of Pentacles can even answer a question. So this didn't work out. Well, how do I know that this will work out? First of all, it's completely different energy. That will be clear. And next, the Eight of Pentacles tells you if you're willing to focus on it, then it will only grow. It will grow and grow and grow. But it does need our focus. Now, it's also number 8. So I know it's representing a new beginning for you. After, again, what seemed like a difficult time. I'm telling you, these are matching your readings for July. Now, your readings are much more detailed. I don't think there's one that's not at least an hour long. And some went close to 2, but I don't put any time restrictions on my readings, except when I'm trying to get all readings in one. But other than that, wow. Gemini, I feel like all you need to do here is take on the Fool's energy. And that means make sure you're in the present moment, because you will be guided, especially with the wheel right there. You're about to meet a soulmate. And I feel like this soulmate, I mean, it's just so different. It's so different. So that Ace of Cups is in reverse for this person. It's going to flip around for this person. Feel it? I know it. But if you have any fear, the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like that answers that question. Are you willing to focus on it? Both people. But this energy just feels so much lighter that I feel like there's no worry. But I hope that you can feel that also. Okay. Let's keep going. There seems to be a theme. A little bit of a theme going on here. All right. Cancer. And then we're going to change decks. Cancer. We have the Five of Wands. We have the Devil, card of Capricorn. And then the Chariot again. So this is your card, Cancer. And I think it's important to understand why does Cancer have the Chariot as their card? Why does Virgo have the Hermit as their card? I may do a podcast just on that, like each sign's major arcana and what it means for them. That's going to be a podcast. I got to remember that. Someone, if you wouldn't mind, write me a note, like on the comment section. Don't forget to do that, Sandy, because I'll probably forget, but I want to do it. So anyways, the Chariot. And let's take your major arcana, the Tower. Interesting. So, we open up this reading with aggression, drama, fighting. A number 5, change. Boy, change seems like it needs to happen. And then we have the devil. So if this is not a Capricorn for you, I just want you to look at this image because I really love this image here. The devil is great at casting illusions, making us feel stuck. Stuck within a situation, stuck within a job, a relationship, whatever it may be. But if you notice that this person is in a cage and they feel like the door is closed, they can't get out. The door is actually wide open. So they can leave whenever they realize that. Whenever the influence of the devil, I was going to say wears off, but really, when this person, maybe while they're in this cage, they seek the energy of the hermit, right? They start seeking the light. And then that light will illuminate where they felt trapped. Because the Chariot to me feels like movement, ready to go. Again, balance. This is what the Chariot requires. So to me, when the Chariot shows up, let's say if my energy isn't balanced, it's like a car showing up, but it has 4 flat tires. Like, oh, beautiful, I get to look at it, but I don't get to drive it. So that's where balance comes in. It's a balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark within ourselves. It's also a reminder that, again, our intentions, it's really important to know that our intentions tell the Chariot where to go. So, Cancer, it looks like you are also ending something. It feels like you are giving the Tower. It's like you have found freedom. It's like you found your way out of this, what felt like a cage. And again, a lot of drama and a lot of ego in the 5 of Wands, but it is a 5. So it's asking for change. And the Tower would be changed. But, I just get this feeling that it's you handing out this Tower. All right. Let's take a couple cards. It's interesting. I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if this is love or money or both. And then we get the 8 of Pentacles. So some of you, it's a job. A lot of drama at your job. It feels like you put your head down, you do your job, you do your work. But I don't know. I get the sense that I don't even like going to work anymore. Some of you may start thinking about working for yourselves. That's what the 8 of Pentacles speaks about. The willingness to go into something as the apprentice, knowing that if you focus on it, you will be the master teacher. You will be the master teacher. So I feel like some of you are moving on. It feels right now more like from a job than anything. Now, it could be family. Let's just say you're no longer interested in those who live in their ego, those who are drama filled. Like that hurts your sensitive balance. That definitely hurts your sensitive balance. Beautiful. 4 of Swords. Wow. So it probably hurt, but now you're healing over it. Look at this, the 4 of Wands. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles is your tree of life. It has a couple different messages. It's a lot like temperance. Its first message is patience, and it talks about certain pentacles or certain seeds of intention now come into fruition. I relate this back to an apple tree. Like a certain apple is becoming ripe, maybe two apples, maybe more. But it's sitting right next to the marriage card, the commitment card. I feel like first and foremost, it wants you to make a commitment to you, yourself, and your abilities and what you want to do. Like the things that you want to create in the world. Because I feel like you may be getting a lot of resistance from, let's just say, outside sources. But part of me feels like because it's moving you into like a destined time, it's almost like we need the wheel here. But really, the Seven of Pentacles to me is much like the wheel, also, right? One of these apples are coming ripe. And if this has anything to do with love, it's a showing you healing over that. And then this another apple becomes ripe. This may be someone that you make a commitment to. Let's take one card in between. We have the Eight of Cups. So you are walking away. You are giving the change that this five is asking for. It's a good thing because, again, it's drama filled, ego filled. I often feel in the Five of Wands, if I'm fighting back, chances are no one's going to back down. If I'm looking for an apology, I better be okay with not getting one. Because the day will come where it's like you won't even care about that. You probably won't even think about that. Because it feels like this tower, even though it's disruption, it feels like a completely new life. Some of you, I feel like it's saying, don't forget to make a commitment to yourself. Especially as it relates to your creativity, and take a chance on yourself. I love that the Eight of Cups just came out because to me that is emotional clarity. So this past energy, number one, you freed yourself from that cage. You're no longer taking that drama. It looks like you're hopping in the chariot, and that chariot is taking you to like uncharted waters, and you're in the healing process. But I feel like you don't need a lot of time. You don't need a lot of time. The person in the Eight of Cups is heading towards the Nine of Cups, inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes. But I have to make that move first, right? That means someone has looked within their emotional house, understands everything. Even in the Four of Swords, there's one sword that we lie upon. And I feel like that's our own truth. You know, like we need to know ourselves. Like, did I keep getting pulled back in that drama? Even though I know better? I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? I do get it. But it looks like you're on to bigger and better things. I feel like what this is saying is to really trust within yourself. Trust that you have what it takes to bring whatever it is you want out into the world. Make a commitment to that. Like, make a real commitment to that. And then baby steps if you feel like you need to. Because I feel like the day will come when it's like you'll look back and be like, my life is so completely different. It's so different. I know this energy. So I feel like the biggest, by the way, 2 8s, 88. I feel like the biggest message here is just no longer willing to deal with other people's egos and drama. And if this is work related, some of you, I feel like you're leaving and you may be starting your own thing. You're making a commitment to yourself. I could see, I do feel like you're a natural healer. So I definitely see you taking those abilities and creating from them. Some of you, I feel like this Four of Wands is talking about future love. I'm going to take one more on the other side, the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so question, right? They call this a juggler's card. That can mean there's a lot of balls up in the air, and that can certainly be the case. I feel like it's more about using your logical mind, especially since you have a lot of pentacles on the board. Deciding whether you want to add, this is what I feel is going to happen. I feel like you're going to be drawn into your creativity, and out of the blue, somehow you're going to be introduced to another. And I feel like this person feels like the right person. Now, I want to make sure you understand that first, I feel that you feel good. Like you've made a commitment to yourself again. So even if I'm just beginning, what am I making a commitment to? For a better life. And in any way that I can control that. Well, you can control it in major ways. Okay, let's keep going. It's hard for me to do shorter readings because I want to give you more and more and more, but that I guess would be what our personal readings, or not personal readings, our monthly readings are. Oh, by the way, just so everybody knows, I am doing a special for July 4th, $30 off any personal reading. I offer 3 different kinds. I call it a regular reading, but they're like 2 hours long. And it goes by whatever questions you want to ask. I have an emergency reading, which is done within 48 hours. And then something I added probably about 2 months ago is past life love, current life. Just because I love doing those readings so much. And the reason why I added that is somebody reached out a couple months ago and asked if I could do one for them as a personal reading. And I said, of course. And I loved it so much that I was like, that's it. I'm going to add it to my personal readings. So, $30 off, and that lasts until Sunday, I believe. Okay. We are at Leo. By the way, I'm bringing in the Psychic Tarot now. Suffering in silence. That's the Nine of Swords. Not really a Leo energy. Look at this. Six of Swords. Like a lot of swords have been coming out. But this is about moving on from something. Well, what you're moving on from is something that was toxic to you. And this means you've had that realization. It's interesting because the Nine of Swords before that is a lot of worry. But the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. Here it says suffering in silence. And I don't know, it makes me sad. Like, I don't want you suffering in silence. But with the Six of Swords next to it, it's like whatever has been toxic in your life, you now know it. Like you have a clear sight. truth, judgment. Couple different messages here. First of all, this is calling you to the present moment. This is talking about a rebirth. You are heading right towards it. It's like, this is you. And look at the light this person is heading towards. The darkness is behind him. That's where that toxicity lies. That's where that worry lies. There could have been something or someone who just kept you in a state of worry. And it probably became too much. So, judgment, your spiritual team calling out to you. Bring in your major arcana. Look at this. The star, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. It's interesting because oftentimes I see this in my readings. I was just telling Sam last night how, like, I can see patterns so easily now. And it's from learning tarot or my tarot practice. I'm not sure why I'm saying that right this moment, but so again, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. This is about manifesting them. Well, that's what your spiritual team, that's their message. Like, what was, but it's over because of action steps you've taken. Again, this is probably why July readings were so good, because I feel like a lot of people are just like, no more bullshit. No more bullshit. And more people are having the realization that, listen, my life is not going to change if I don't make the effort. So that's exactly what you're doing in the Six of Swords. And it's like you are listening to your spirit guides who are telling you that this is a time where dreams and wishes have the ability to manifest. Goodbye Nine of Swords. Goodbye Five of Swords. Also card of Aquarius, by the way. And, judgment calling you to the present moment and then bringing out the star. It's like these dreams or wishes, like they're right around the corner. Again, it kind of feels like a good reward for getting through what you had to get through. But you did get through. Yes, you did. Victory and success. Spotlight is on you, right where it's meant to be. I just got done doing a podcast on Leo's compatibility in love with the other zodiac signs. And one of the big themes was about, other signs need to know that the spotlight is often on you. And it's really where you shine. And, some can be intimidated by that. But some can really value that. The Six of Wands is about other people looking up to you for the things that you have done. Victory and success. Oh. Hello, Nine of Cups. Wow. Inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes right next to the wish card. Like your spiritual team. First of all, I want to say, for all the signs I've done so far, I feel like there's a sense of real proudness from your guides on these earthly steps you're taking, because, many times we forget that we're spiritual beings and we use just our earthly mind. And it can make it much more difficult to get through situations. So I feel like your spiritual team is very proud of you. But how beautiful is that? So you're moving from what was once toxic, had you in a state of worry, to now victory and success, inner harmony, and these wishes are coming true. Let's just see anything else wants to come out with that. We have the Four of Cups. Interesting. So the Four of Cups can talk about discontentment and boredom in one's emotional life. But in the Four of Cups, the meaning of the card is learning to use your spiritual discernment. But in the Four of Cups, there is a cup coming in. And this is why you want to use your spiritual discernment. But there's nothing to fear here. I already know that. Because of the Nine of Cups, you yourself have found inner harmony. And I feel like what it is saying is maybe the one area you felt was lacking was of an emotional nature. Now, you falling in love again, with you in this energy of inner harmony, I feel like that's just beautiful. That is beautiful. And I feel like because the Four of Cups talks about the one place where I may have lack. So to me, the Six of Wands is speaking about your money, really just you and you being in the spotlight. Don't forget, I feel like part of our soul's purpose is if we ourselves have gotten out of very difficult situations, many times we're called as teachers. And I'm just giving you that name, but where you help your fellow man and woman overcome the same things you did. Sometimes you can do it as a business, and sometimes it just happens naturally. In the Six of Wands, other people are seeking you out. So, also, if you were leery about, let's say, starting a business, this tells you that the right people will seek you out. Let the worry go, inner harmony, and that's what opens up these wishes and dreams. And by the way, no wonder you have inner harmony because you left the toxicity behind, and that opened the door to your dreams to become your reality. Okay. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right. Virgo, my fellow Virgos. I'm a Virgo sun. My boyfriend is Virgo sun and a Virgo moon. We have, look at Cancer. Cancer's energy is coming out over and over again, but it makes complete sense because we're in Cancer's energy. Triumph, accelerated motion, partnerships, and alliances. But look how they're holding each other. I can't help but notice that. Normally when you meet someone, it's like a handshake. This is like a recognition. And, I always notice the barcode, tattooed barcode on this person's arm. And I notice it because I feel 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm just going to say, for some, it could talk about a twin flame. But this recognition is different. It just is. Like, I feel like there's something special here. This is great energy of collaboration, taking your ideas and very quickly seeing results from your ideas. You know, what you think about, you bring about. Like she's focusing on the North Star. Again, the Chariot, unlimited potential once there's balance. But I feel like also great energy of collaboration. It just feels like, what do you want to do today? Where do you want to go today? All right, let's bring out your major arcana. Well, hello, Magician, the manifester. And here she is wishing upon a star. And the Magician, the ability to manifest that wish. Okay. I feel like I just used those, so let's bring in the Gilded Tarot. You know, the Magician is a reminder to you that you possess all the tools necessary to truly be successful on this next journey. You know, 8, a new beginning. But it's also the number of infinity, as above, so below. No beginning, no end. It's a reminder that you're a soul, you're a spirit. And the power within that. Two of Wands. Here we go. We're stepping upon a new path. Two of Wands means it's going to be passionate. It's going to be action oriented. Magician's looking right over at it. Hello, star. So she's wishing upon a star. And how interesting the star then comes out, following the Magician. And it's coming under partnerships and alliances. It's like your energy for July moving forward. Because again, we have 7 and an 8. It's like, again, it's like Cancer and then Leo. But we're talking to Virgo. One, two, three. We have the 9 of Pentacles, which is a Virgo energy, and the Queen of Wands, intuitive, passion-oriented. This is a queen, you know, when I get the Page of Wands, I say this is my risk taker. Well, this queen has taken a lot of risk in her lives. It's interesting because with her, I always notice that she's lighting this flame. Interesting how I just talked about a twin flame. I know that's not everyone. It's very few. And please don't wish for it. You know what I mean? If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. But it can be very difficult at the same time. It can be very beautiful. But there's a lot of lessons. So, you know, like everyone will be with their twin again. Anyway, but I just want to say I feel like there are a few here. I love that you just got the 9 of Pentacles, successful self-employment. And some of you, it may just be the beginning because there is a 2 connected to it with the Magician. But it's like telling you, you truly possess everything you need to be successful. You will reap the benefits of this Nine of Pentacles. And it will be you. Some of you may partner with someone and begin a business. But then I feel like this queen is lighting this flame. Well, I want to take one right on the other side of her. Look at that, the Ten of Pentacles. It's almost like she's saying, well, first of all, let's just look. We get the Nine of Pentacles, successful self-employment that now has moved into the Ten of Pentacles, the house of abundance, the house that takes root, the house where we have more than we need. And you add compassion and empathy in that, then both very caring. And if I have more than I need, then I'm going to give, I'm going to help. So what started as a singular journey, I feel like turns into a partnered journey. So where we have partnerships and alliances, yes, for some, it can be like the right partner. But for others, I feel like this is taking you from a single status. Well, it feels like with the right partner now, excuse me, into the Ten of Pentacles that's connected to your wishes, your dreams. Here's the thing. I feel like you have more than one dream. One of the dreams is about your money. You want stability. You want to earn a good living for yourself and for your family if you have a family. But now this queen is lighting this fire, this flame. And I feel like what that is doing is introducing someone else into your life who, let's put it this way, they must be very like-minded, because you had the potential of really working together. And if you don't make the choice of working together, I can definitely see you feeding ideas off of each other. That's what Sam and I do. We don't work together, but we're constantly feeding ideas off each other. So, in a way, this is a little bit of my life story, right? I built my business, then met Sam, moved in with Sam, singular to coupled. But the magician is the one who knows, right? The magician, you, the reminder that you really have and you possess everything you need to truly be successful, even if it's just taking that first step. Take that step. Because look at the abundance that follows. Look at the wishes coming true. Wow. Okay. I'm going to let that be. Trying to think, what did I name your reading? All right. So we just did Virgo. It is Libra's time. Libra. Choose wisely. Seven of Cups. By the way, Cancer's energy. Trapped in fear. This is the Eight of Swords. And then firm foundation. Let's take your major arcana, which is the Death card. Card of Scorpio. But it is a card of transformation, closing of doors. Well, I feel like you're in a question mode right now, and there may be something you want to do, but there may be some fear around it. I feel like the best thing I could do here, well, first of all, I guess the first thing I should do is look at the Eight of Swords. They call that the self-created prison. This is where we build barriers around us to protect us. That's what we think. That's what our earthly mind thinks. Our spiritual mind knows that our intuition is our protector. Our spiritual team is our protector. So it looks like you may be having a difficult time making a decision about something. It would be of an emotional nature. So let's go ahead and take some clarifiers. That didn't take long. Ace of Wands, something's inspiring you. We have the Knight of Swords. Interesting. So this question that's being posed to you, it's interesting because I feel like it's opening some chakras up. I feel like it is introducing something that has passion related to it. It does require your action, but it feels like your spiritual team is giving you this sense, though some of you aren't picking it up yet, but I do feel like they're giving you this sense that it's going to be okay. And to go ahead and choose that cup that you feel, put down those walls. You don't need them. Trust your intuition. And yes, there may be something that needs to close, complete. But that's so something new can begin. The Eight of Swords, it's still an eight. So when you uncreate that prison, it's freedom, baby. It's freedom. And when I say freedom, I mean it feels like freedom to explore, freedom of ideas, and to go after them. Whatever it is you want. All right, let's keep going though. And then we get the Knight of Swords. So I have a feeling that some type of communication came in. And then we have the Eight of Cups, but it's in reverse. I felt like something else wanted. There it goes. I felt like something else wanted to come out. The King of Swords. Well, let's try to match that. The Lovers. The Unknown card. And the Two of Pentacles. Okay, wow. All right, so let's look at this. So we have two eights. The Eight of Swords, self-created prison. The Eight of Cups, all about your emotional house, emotional clarity. But the Eight of Cups is in reverse. I don't really like that. I'm not judging you, but, there feels like there's something that's causing, instability in your life. There's something that's caused you to create this self-created prison. And you are the only one who can free yourself. But then there feels like there's some type of communication that comes in. And that may get you thinking in a different way. because the communication that's coming in is now showing as the King of Swords connected to the Lovers. Wow. You may be the King of Swords and one of these Lovers. The Unknown card is really the High Priestess, but I feel like what it represents is sometimes things we're not meant to know where it's going to ultimately end up. And one of the main reasons is because we're creating it as we speak. If I don't uncreate this prison, chances are that's where I stay. But if I do uncreate it and I trust my intuition even a little bit, because again, this is where it's going to reach you in your intuition. Like something is going to inspire you. If you're in the Eight of Swords and the Lover shows up, because remember, the Death card is asking for completion of something. I don't know how it couldn't be the Eight of Swords. But that's not stopping the Knight of Swords from coming in. So this communication still comes in. But then what are you going to do with it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when I come for you? You won't be able to help but feel it. You won't be able to deny it, what you're feeling. You can deny it, but you won't be able to deny the feeling. And, the Lover's head over heart decision. Well, the Two of Pentacles right below that makes sense. But I feel like the chemistry within the Lover's energy alone is hard to resist. This is who's communicating with you. And again, heart chakra is going to be activated, even if you're in this prison. And it's giving you the opportunity to really free yourself. I often say this, like, if we've had it bad, hard, difficult, we don't want to assume that the next person's going to be like that. What's better is to look at ourselves. This is another podcast I want to do, but I want to talk about like energy. Like I can look back at my life and now I understand how I ended up with some lower vibrational people. I myself was in a lower vibrational energy. But as I evolved, so did my life. And I'm only saying that because I feel like this is giving you that opportunity. And sometimes we have to be okay with not knowing exactly where it's going to end up, mainly because we are the writer of our story. So I feel like what I got to ask you, are you willing to close the door on what really feels like it's not serving you anyway? Are you willing to accept this communication? Doesn't mean you have to say yes, but just listen. I feel like the rest will take care of itself, to be honest. But, one thing I do want to say, though, is if we are in this self-created prison and we feel like we still don't have an emotional clarity, then that's what we want to see. And don't, like, when you're looking for emotional clarity, you don't have to look at every single cup that's been knocked over. Some of them are just free will. You know what I mean? Some are just for the moment. And some are meant to last a lifetime. What if this is meant to last a lifetime? Would that help you free yourself? Because I feel like the potential's here. But what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Because they're coming. And, I feel like I like this coming through communication because I feel like that's easier. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to freak out as much. You have more control. Like the person can't see you on the other line, on the other side of the line. All right. Check my time. Okay, we're good. Scorpio. Scorpio. Mental conflict. Two swords. Intuition. Look at that. 22. Two twos back to back. And then financial and material changes. 5. Feels like some of you, well, let's get your major arcana. The Hermit. Um, Boy, I kind of love the Hermit connected to your intuition. That's like your spirituality on fire. Two swords can certainly mean, like, normally you'll see this person has a blindfold on, and it could be something, and it's usually not major, but something I may not want to face. And the longer I put it off, I feel like then the bigger the problem becomes. So it may be relating to your money, yet your intuition is trying to speak to you, like to pull on this spiritual wisdom that you have. Hmm. When you take off the blindfold of the two swords, everything really does become clear. And I love that it then moves you into your intuition. And some of you, that may be exactly what you've been learning. Like to use my intuition instead of my fear-based mind. Temperance. Fine timing. Um, Temperance's first message is patience. That means temperance is busy getting a dream ready. I don't know how else to say it. But it is about trusting the divine timing. That means divine timing is going to happen. Also card of Sagittarius, by the way. I may want something now, but maybe I have to wait a little bit longer. But again, it's due to divine timing. I feel like if you're wearing a blindfold, take it off because divine is working in your life right now. And you want to know that. You want to see it. Like sometimes you can be amazed at what divine can do in our lives. I feel like you're carrying a lot of spiritual wisdom. Scorpio, you are a natural healer. And you are the person that a lot of people come to when they need advice. Whether you have your life together or not, it doesn't even matter. Because even if your life isn't together, you still have this spiritual wisdom like you're born with it. Justice card of Libra. So, justice is about balance. You know, I feel what this is saying for you. I don't really feel like this is about using the sword of justice like you're cutting ties. I feel like what it's really talking to you about is finding balance. And it may be talking about your money, like being careful that I'm not spending more than I have. But really, I feel like this is about making you whole again. So, though that is a little message, not, if I don't have it, don't buy it type of thing. But I feel what this is saying is eventually you will have it, so you will be able to buy it if you really want it. Justice is about making you whole. Justice is what's fair and just in your world. And that may be what temperance is waiting on. Like for you to find this balance, which means that blindfold has to come off and you just have to trust in your intuition and your spirituality, which to me, for you, go hand in hand. By the way, 3 major arcanas. People-wise, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Libra. And then look who just turned itself around, the devil. Under temperance. Can be Capricorn. And then the 6 of Cups. Interesting. But I feel like I want to take one more. King of Wands in reverse. All right, well, maybe you are using that sword after all. It's interesting because 6 of Cups is about nostalgia. It can talk about a person. And if it's talking about a person, then it's talking about a person that you have happy memories about. And, it's interesting because I get this sense that you needed to concentrate on your money. And I get this sense also that you need to understand that you naturally carry this spirituality, that you're naturally intuitive, and to trust that. I'd call you psychic. And I know a lot of you shut that part down until you're ready. Like temperance isn't like, you got to do it now, you got to do it now. It's in divine timing, but whenever you're ready, my dear. King of Swords, or I'm sorry, King of Wands in reverse can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have Sag. That's it. But this could just be talking about someone who has their hands in your money at the same time, making it hard for you to like hang on to your money. But I feel like there's someone else. Okay, this is what I feel. I feel like you've been in this period of time where, it's like, what's that saying? Robbing Peter to pay Paul. I can't think when I do tarot readings. And that's because I literally try to shut my mind down and just open up my intuition. Um, Robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know what I'm saying. I feel like you've kind of been in that energy for a while. But I feel like things are changing for you. But it is because of you. You know, number one, when you take that blindfold off, the sooner the better. Because then you can face whatever you need to face. And I feel like once you face it, then that ends that. And then you get back to your beautiful self. So it feels like there's someone intuitively that you're connected to, maybe even spiritually. But again, temperance is like in its right time. This King of Wands kind of feels like before, where I wasn't really feeling you needed to use that sword. She's looking right at that king. And yes, it can represent a fire sign, but it can just represent anyone who's got their hands in your money, who's causing you money problems. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't even have to be romantic. Just someone who's causing me money problems using that sword. And I feel like what this is saying is when you find, let's say, personal balance, well, what a great time then. That feels like divine timing to usher in what feels like playful, more romantic, spiritual energy. So sometimes we're waiting on divine, and sometimes divine is waiting on us. I feel like it's a little of both here because I feel like when that blindfold comes off, divine is ready. I feel like when you have control of your money, even if you only have a little money, not giving it out, or those who may be taking advantage of you, you're cutting those ties, you're saying no more. It's almost like you have a picture of your life in the way you want it to be, and now you're being very proactive in creating that life. So I feel like whatever changes, because the five speaks about a change, I feel like it only will suit you. Don't forget how intuitive or even psychic that you are. And the more you trust that versus your fear-based mind, I just feel the more you'll recognize the blessings and appreciate them for sure. Okay, I'm going to let that one be. All right, where are we at? Let me look at my time. All right, I still have time. We are at Sagittarius. 7 of Wands, stand your ground. 2 sevens, look at that, deception and envy. Wow, 77. And then the 4 of Cups. Interesting. Grab your major arcana, the devil, card of Capricorn. But it's coming under deception and envy. We are going to switch decks again. Okay. Sagittarius. Wow. All right, so you're dealing with someone who just carries deceptive energy. You know, this is a perfect representation of the Seven of Swords with the devil underneath it. It is the influence, right? Yet here you are standing your ground. You know, this must be an emotional connection because I don't feel like you're satisfied. Matter of fact, it feels like it looks like your back is to this energy. So you probably cleared it, or you are clearing it. Now, let me just say with the Seven of Swords and the Devil connected, where it's telling you to stand your ground, sometimes I want to say, you know, yes, stand your ground, but again, this energy doesn't seem to want to change, and it's leaving you emotionally unsatisfied. But again, in the Four of Cups, the cup is coming in. The person's back against the Seven of Swords tells me it's something or someone different. Look at that, the Ten of Swords. Okay, I feel like don't stand your ground. The King of Wands. I'm saying don't stand your ground because the Ten of Swords tells me that this will just happen again. You know, whatever type of connection this is that you have to this Seven of Swords person, I feel like you must have given plenty of time, plenty of opportunity to evolve, let's say. But they didn't. And that's just a fact. Five of Swords. You know, you don't want to fight toxicity with toxicity. It won't get you anywhere. I can't see any good qualities. I'm not saying this person is a horrible person. Maybe they are. I do want to say I feel like they've been horrible in your life, though. We have, interesting, the Four of Cups again. And then, hello, world. The next chapter. That means there's a completion. Anytime you see the world, you know some type of completion has happened, which means the next portal is ready to open. Well, if we just look at this side, we have two Four of Cups. Here is a great representation of the Four of Cups. You can see that cup coming in. It's coming from the hand of divine. It wants you to use your spiritual discernment, not fear. I feel like this is talking about two people who may be in similar situations, and both may need to clear it to then move into this potential. Now, when I see the world, I feel a couple things. I feel your spirituality must be intact because in the world's energy, you're really walking hand in hand with your spiritual team. That means you're trusting your intuition. I feel like what happens in the world energy has an opportunity to last for the rest of our lives. Well, because this is cups, I feel like it is talking about love, but with someone different. Because here, where you've been standing your ground. I feel like you got nowhere. And it's literally showing them as carrying toxic energy to your energy. It's just like how I just did that podcast where I'm doing signs compatibility. And there are certain signs that just would have a very hard time of working out. They're just so different. And I kind of feel that here. Like we are so different. You and I. I feel like you have given someone plenty of chances. But again, they're more than satisfied living the way they're living, which is their choice. But it doesn't feel like it's your choice anymore. That's why your back is to that energy. And there's two people that are looking for, well, I feel love. I think I want to take one more card. Six of Wands, victory and success. Beautiful. So, this side of the board compared to this side of the board are night and day. Yes, you do have to accept that, cup. But because the Six of Wands just came out, I feel like you're going to. Now, why? Because I feel like you're looking for it. Well, I don't know if that's the right word. I feel like that's the place where you had dissatisfaction is in your emotional world. Your finances might be doing pretty good. Um, but this, man, like, goodbye. That's what I hope. Like, goodbye. And then let these two cups, by the way, two cups would be soulmates who both carrying the energy of victory and success and both moving into the world, moving into the next chapter. So having your back to this energy is perfect. That means you're not willing to pull that energy into your future. No way. Okay, I'm going to let that be. Okay, where are we at? Capricorn. Capricorn. Conflict and defeat. Which everyone's first card is like hard. Rest and rejuvenation. This is the Four of Swords. And hello, Ace of Swords. Look what it says. Triumphant success. Conflicts and defeat. Get right through you. Anything that's been holding you back, you're now healing from. And the thing about healing, I mean, I love this image because this person's out in nature. They're open. They're sitting by these beautiful trees, which I feel like symbolize wisdom. I feel ancestors. This is probably where you really connect. Yeah, I mean, it can be your backyard. It doesn't have to be like I'm out in the woods. But I feel like you're hearing like spiritual wisdom. And then you have the Hierophant, card of Taurus. It's a 5. You have 2 5s here. 1, conflict and defeat. But triumph, success, that means that you've overcome it. The 4 of Swords means you've overcome it. It means you went through it, which is good. Now the Hierophant usually wants you to question, like, your belief system. Ask yourself, are you living life? If you add the 5 and the 4, it's a 9. Reflection. That's kind of what the Hierophant wants. Just reflect upon, your values, your morals. But even if I usually feels like if there's another connected to me, then I want to make sure that, our morals align, our values align. Doesn't mean we're exactly the same. That would just be boring. But that we have the same ultimate goals in mind. All right. Well, we got a lot, but we're going to take them. 10 of Wands. Interesting. The Fool. The 5 of Pentacles. The 9 of Wands. And then the 6 of Swords, which is really beautiful. I'll tell you why. So, you have these conflicts and defeats. It's showing me that you were able to overcome them. Some of you walked right through them, which is really the way to do it, because that means that you're learning from them. That means you don't repeat them. 10 of Wands, a lot of responsibility. I don't know. Maybe somebody wasn't pulling their weight and all the weight ended up on your shoulders. The Fool is looking right back at the 10 of Wands like, done with that, right? The Fool's free and clear. The Fool's not in all this heaviness, quite the opposite. So I feel like what this is saying for you, especially with the 9 of Wands here, this is the best type of reflection to do. This is when we look back at our lives, but we're looking at it through our spiritual lens. Like every wand behind this person is growth, is things that we've overcome. It's what made us who we are today and what we should be proud of. I call this person my spirit warrior because they know they've been through it, but they also know that they've overcome, which gives you a sense of, really, there's nothing I can't overcome. 5 of Pentacles and the 6 of Swords feel like they go hand in hand. 5 of Pentacles feels like, 5 of Pentacles usually it feels like a tower. It can mean things happening outside of your control. But here's the thing. I feel like you are in control now. Because we then move into the 6 of Swords. So that means that you understand what and who's been toxic in your life. And you're not willing to take it anymore. This reflection through the Hierophant's energy and this healing has served you well. And it's putting you on this new path. And I often say in the 6 of Swords, it's temporarily difficult energy. But that's for those who may have a hard time with change. But it is the promise of warmer waters. If you look at this person, she's in freezing cold weather, right? She's standing on ice, but she's heading towards the sun, warmth. She's letting all those swords of the past go, which is putting her or him into the fool's energy. All right, I think I just want to take a card with the Hangman. Let's take one on this side. And then we have the Hermit. Card of Virgo. And definitely speak about your spirituality. For some of you, I feel like what this is saying, really, though, is you're moving towards soul-like energy. The Hangman, a pause in the action. I feel like that's really your spiritual team, though, giving you the opportunity to clear the past, to have these realizations. You know, you are the one that has to have these realizations. That's how you grow. And that's what you're doing here. You're growing and you're on to new adventures. It's the Ace of Swords. Could certainly be communication. Matter of fact, I want to take a card right over that. Ten of Swords. Well, some of you might be speaking your piece. And the Page of Swords. Okay. So that may be what you're doing. You're speaking your piece. And what you're saying is you're done. It's like you're giving someone the tower. And there's no way they can talk you out of it because the reflection you've done has served you well. And then I even love the Hermit under there. 2 9s, by the way, 99. This is talking about your spirituality. So, you're saying your piece. You're saying goodbye. You're healing. But I feel like you've been healing because I feel like things have been outside of your control, where now it feels like you've taken back control. You've regained your voice. You regained your sense of adventure. And you're off to brand new pastures. Okay. You know, this universal year 9, it's no joke. Like, I notice it in the readings, how important it is for us to do this final reflection so that we can truly, truly let go of the energy that just hasn't been serving us, so that the promises, let's say like your soul seeds of intention can become your reality. All right, Aquarius. I just switched decks, by the way, so we're at the light seers now. So, Aquarius. We have the 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups, and the Hangman. Your major arcana is the Moon. Card of Pisces, ruler of Cancer. The Moon can speak of uncertainties, but it's also very dreamy energy. It's coming under the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is where your focus is at, and that can be focusing on the cups that have been knocked over. The Hangman is a pause in the action. The Hangman is definitely seeking wisdom, spiritual wisdom to use on this earthly plane. And boy, I do feel like you are seeking it. But look at this. Look at the illumination around her. She's receiving it. So that will turn the Hangman in the upright position. Well, actually, it's in the upright in reverse, but that is a spiritual awakening. So we have the Six of Pentacles that opened this up, and that is an energy of give and take. It's empathy and compassion, but sometimes it can be unequal. You know, where one tends to give and the other tends to take. You're reflecting upon that in the Five of Cups. Five of Cups, though you can't see it here, it's a 5. So it's asking you, like, how long do you want to focus on this? You know, you're focusing on the cups that have been knocked over. It's asking you to consider not to focus on the past. Because when this person changes their focus, unbeknownst to them, there's 2 cups that eventually come in. Now, to me, that means they're soulmates. But it feels like as long as I'm focusing on everything that's gone wrong in my life emotionally, I stay in the Hangman position. But if I'm seeking clarity, then clarity is what ye shall find. All right. I feel like one of the lessons in the Six of Pentacles, it's not about becoming less compassionate or less empathetic. It's learning the fine art of give and take. Like, you deserve to receive. And I'm not saying, like, I give only so I'll receive. But if it has anything to do with, let's say, a relationship, then it has to be balanced. Otherwise, I don't know how it could work. You know, I mean, I could give up my life and live someone else's life. Or, or, we have the Knight of Wands. So, Knight of Wands means some type of passion is rushing in. Why did I put it up there? And put it down here. Knight of Wands is usually fast moving energy. All right, let's take what's face up first. Five of Wands. The Emperor. Card of, excuse me, card of Aries. The Devil. Card of Capricorn. The Two of Swords. And then the King of Pentacles. Interesting. I don't know why, but I feel like for some of you, there may be 2 people that's coming into your lives, and there may be a choice. I mean, what a problem to have, right? Like, which do I choose? Well, let me put it this way. If you really are no longer focusing on, you know, it's okay to think back at the past and reflect upon the past. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in the Five of Cups, it can turn into woe is me. And now the Five of Wands is over that. So, feels like something difficult anyway. You know, we can get hung up in a relationship, let's say, where things are not balanced. It is not an equal give and take. But we feel that we love them. Though I have to say, I don't have that being represented here. So maybe it's just what I think, or think I feel. You know, you might love them, but I feel like romantically, no. It may be more of like the energy of not wanting to be alone, which is not really your energy, but that's kind of what it's reading here. Now, I do feel like you will, because I do feel like the hangman is finding this wisdom, which I feel like will move you out of this Five of Cups, which I feel like will change everything. It means that you're not dealing with ego, aggression, emotional loss, um, sadness. That's a lot to overcome. I know that. But I feel like it feels like in all the readings, like we've given people plenty of time. So sometimes we just have to look at ourselves. Why do I keep bringing or keep finding myself attracted to energy that just hurts me? What is going on? Well, sometimes when you do not clear the past and understand it, and understand you in it, we have a tendency to repeat the past. Now, I'm not saying someone from your past can't be someone that you fall in love with, but what you're dealing with right now doesn't feel good. You know, you're a very independent sign. You are freedom loving. You're a deep thinker. You know, you remind me of me, and I'm a Virgo. And that deep thinking can get us in trouble sometimes. I feel like these fives, which both are difficult fives, and fives always are asking for change, but graceful change. I feel like what this is showing you, pretty much like the majority of the readings, is as we evolve, so does our life and the people in it. I feel like the Emperor is representing someone that you can look up to. Someone who, and I'm not even thinking Aries, I'm just thinking of the energy. This is someone who is empathetic and compassionate. You know, I even love the king attached to him because the King of Pentacles to me represents loyalty in the upright, you know, stability. And I feel like that's important for you. And I get this feeling of this person giving you the space and time that you need to be creative. Because I feel like, don't take away my personal space. Boy, I don't know where I'm picking that up from. And I don't feel like they would, because I feel like they would appreciate that part of you. So, again, it's a decision. I have to make the choice. Either continue to focus on the things that have gone wrong, but now the Five of Wands out, fighting, ego, drama, what would make me want to stay? Now, I should say though, I'm not saying existing relationships can't evolve. They certainly can. But both have to be participants in this relationship. Kind of feel like you're on your own, but I don't feel like for long. I feel like that's what the hangman is saying. Like this wisdom that you're seeking, I know that you're going to find it. And this Knight of Cups or this Knight of Wands that ushers in passion, it's coming. But it is being met by the Two of Swords. Now, that's not the Eight of Swords. So it could just be a little fearful. But listen, I feel like this is the type of person who would understand that. They've probably been through the same thing. Just like the Empress. The Emperor has lived the life of all the kings, has the wisdom of all the kings. That's what makes them so empathetic and compassionate. I've been there. I know what you're going through. And I feel like what is really important here is there is a true sense of loyalty. And it's not something I feel you have to guess. I feel like you're just going to know it. You're just going to feel it if you allow. If you allow. All right. Pisces. You know what, Pisces, we might as well bring out the last deck that I was going to use. And we shall use it for you. Actually, I want to shuffle this deck up. I don't want to waste too much time. I'll do it real quick. There's a card in there. It doesn't fit. There it is. All right. The Hermit was stuck in there, but I'm not going to take that. All right, Pisces. Wow. Hello, Ace of Cups. Oh my God. It's like everything was waiting for you. Ace of Pentacles. I will shit if we get another ace. The Emperor. Wow. Major Arcana. The World. What do I say when I do monthly readings? The best is usually, or the last is usually the best. Well, Gemini was the last for July readings, and it was one hell of a reading. You're last in the all signs readings, and holy cow, Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the World. So the Ace of Cups mirroring the Emperor. Can be Aries. Boy, I feel a couple different things here. I feel, first of all, this is an opportunity for some of you to build a business, take a leadership role. And the clue is it would be something that you probably already have a love for, or very quickly as you begin, though it takes hard work, you'll have a love for it. Feels like the Ace of Pentacles. Remember, the Ace of Pentacles is something that's coming into your physical world. It's meant to enhance your world. Well, it's looking right over at the Emperor, who I often feel is a business owner, leadership role, but it's also mirroring the Ace of Cups, so it could be also love. How do I love that you're bringing these aces into this next chapter with you? Wow, wow, wow. Two aces of pentacles. Bummer. Eight of swords. It just doesn't make sense. Queen of cups. We know that's you. Or at least I feel it's you. Can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, but I feel it's you. And it's mirroring, well, it's mirroring the Ace of Cups, but it also has the Ace of Pentacles in between that, with the Ace of Pentacles on the other side of that. So what the hell is this Eight of Swords doing here? What are you not trusting in? Your leadership abilities, maybe? Oh, well, let that go. Hello, Nine of Pentacles, successful self-employment, which is mirroring the Emperor, who I often feel is a business owner. I feel like there's just this sense of maybe not trusting your abilities. You know, you're another sign is very intuitive or psychic. You know, to me, they're both the same. Like a psychic medium is different, but anyways, successful self-employment. Two aces of pentacles. The world. I need to come up and look at that eight. Okay, wow, we got a lot, but with the nine of swords, that didn't help. That just made it worse. Look at this. We had the eight of pentacles. That's what it is. I feel like some of you, you know, let's say, I know a lot of you want to start like a tarot channel or a business. But you're leery because you feel like you don't know everything. You know, maybe you don't know all the meanings of the cards, but I don't feel like you have to. You know, like when I do a reading, yes, I want to know what the sign is, but what I'm looking at is the position, the coloring. Are they looking at me? Like I'm looking at it like a story. Anyway, Nine of Wands, Page of Wands, my risk taker, and then the Star. Honestly, it feels like the only thing that's coming between you and your dreams is you. And I mean that in the most loving of ways. You know, this is representing, I mean, you have two aces of pentacles. Does that mean that you're going to meet someone through your creative outlet? That's kind of what it feels like. You know, this is showing you in success. This is showing you with unconditional love. It's showing the world which is your next chapter. And by the way, how beautiful that you're bringing all these aces along. The only thing we don't want to bring along are the 8 and the 9 of swords. But I feel like the 9 of swords is explaining the 8 of swords. It's worry, but it's unnecessary worry. Set yourself free and watch your life open up. I mean, really. Even this, look at the synchronicities 8 and 9, and look at this 8 and 9. Completely different energy. This is where you're beginning in the 8, right? You're putting your focus on your pentacles, on your creativity, and this is where you're reaping the benefits of it. So the only one who's not believing in you is you. Because this means that this is an opportunity. You know, I don't feel like the star shows unless it really means that you can manifest these dreams, these aces. You know, the Ace of Pentacles comes into your physical world, whether I want it or not. Now, I can say no, but it still comes in. Even the Ace of Cups, that's energetic. I mean, like, it just looks beautiful. Even the person that's attached to it. And yes, it may be Aries for some of you, but to me, it really speaks about the type of person. Again, empathetic, compassion. You need that, right? You want someone who has that. But a leader, like, I feel like you would have no problem allowing them to lead. I don't mean lead you, but I feel like there's a sense of like where I feel you would be very proud of them and them proud of you. This could also be great collaboration. This, my friends, is one hell of a little reading, but so telling. And you know, there's nothing here that's getting in your way. The only thing that keeps pulling me back to is the 8 and 9 of swords. The 8 of swords, you created it, which means you can uncreate it. It is freedom. The 9 of swords, yes, it is worry, but the meaning of the card is unnecessary worry. Pisces, I pray you accept these aces for what they are. You know, the Ace of Cups, it is unconditional love. But how beautiful that all this is part of your next chapter. Let go of this 8 and 9 of swords. It's the only thing that could get in the way. Wow. Okay, I'm going to let that be, guys. I thank each and every one of you. Truly. Um, it's hard for me to do these short little readings, but I felt like I had to do an all signs. And I have to say, boy, do they tie back to your monthlies. So if you haven't checked out your monthly, you may want to. And by the way, if you watch someone else's reading, you know, maybe you're in love with someone or what have you, or, you know, platonically or romantically, don't forget to also watch their moon because that's the inner them. The sun is what they show the world. I want to know what's inside of you, baby. That's what I want. So I'm going to let that be. I thank you all. Um, my wish for all of you is that you manifest a life that just is unrecognizable in the most beautiful of ways. You know, when I think of you guys, you are my family. And I see you, like honestly, in my vision, you're all in the room with me. We're all soul connected. And I feel like that's why our readings are so clear. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you guys. I love you. Happy July. I'll see you soon. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.